Okay, so this is another worked example looking at the network summary dashboard. Um, this is another one from Jupiter High School, actually looking at the last hour in Building 1. And what's of primary interest at Jupiter High School in Building 1 is the Media Center, because uh, Building 1 consists of some admin buildings and the Media Center. So we're looking, today's January 19th, and we're looking at the last hour, which is from 2:09 to 3:09 p.m. So if we look across the graphs, we can see that there was a kind of peak of connected clients, and actually it's 226, 5, and 130, 2.4. Dropped to 166 by 250, and way down to 32 and 17. There's a lot of desktops in the media center which still use wireless, but I have to suspect that we're looking at these numbers that a lot of this may have been due to the transit of a large number of students through the area, and these may not be the media center. These may be perhaps an external access point on the side of the building, as students made their way out and temporarily registered and then deregistered from the building. Having said that, if we go across here, we can see that the most data, and there's quite a lot of data, which is 570 megabytes, went across access point D29E0, and a very similar amount across 8D00C0. I just need to go down and make sure that I'm still looking at Jupiter High School Building 1. That's the only gotcha here, is you need to make sure you're looking at the right location. Yep, so Jupiter High School, Building 1, first floor. And if we want to look at bandwidth usage over time, we can see something quite strange here. The bandwidth usage peaked at 230. Now, normally in wireless, a lot more data is transmitted from the access point towards wireless clients than is received. But you can see this strange peak here where there were very similar amounts, or very amounts and rates of transmission in both directions. And we see DE29E0 and the 8D00C0 were showing high data transfer. And if we go down to the bottom, 8D00C0 is also showing high airtime usage. And DE29E0 is showing quite considerably less airtime usage, but still we're seeing one of them as having shown a lot of usage. Now, one of the things that I had missed out here, or hadn't really realized or forgotten, is that when you're looking at airtime utilization, you can actually drill down. So remember, this is just showing us the percent across the whole hour. Well, we can actually right click on that access point, and it will open up another dashboard tab, which is specific to the device. And it shows us what the what it calls channel usage. And I have to tell you right now, I don't even know what that means, channel utilization. But it shows us airtime usage. And it shows us that at this time of 2:30, there was something quite strange. It looked like there was some kind of very large upload, which consumed 30% of airtime, as opposed to only 2% of airtime used for transmission. And if we were to look at the graph over here, these seem a little bit out of kilter, but you would have to suspect that this consumption of over 30% of airtime would be consistent with this sudden peak in the retries. But I'm guessing what happens is that the retry report might lag the airtime usage report. So there was something went on there that was a little bit out of the ordinary, and it's just worth noticing that. But also, if we note, we had about 20 clients on this access point until about 3 o'clock, and then it looks like literally they all got switched off. So this access point is 8D00C0, kind of worth looking at where that is. So we're going to open up a monitor tab. Airhive APs, Jupiter High School. So control that. 8D00C0. It's a media center. So it's a media center. It's telling us there are 21 clients. I would guess that this always lags a little bit, so this is out of date, but we can right click on that and open up the clients in a new tab. And these are all connecting on the Wi-Fi 1.1, well, with the exception of a couple. And interestingly, you can see that one of these clients has transferred 392 megabytes of data, as opposed to the others where you're talking about 17 or under. So it's literally transmitted more than 20 times the amount of data of all the others. And it would be interesting to then drill into that one, right-clicking on its MAC address, opening that in a new tab. And here we can see this this peak. So this looks like the device that suddenly consumed a lot of bandwidth in order to upload a file. And we can look at our transmitted bitrate distribution and our received bitrate distributions that indicate the general health of the connection. This one's been on all day. We're interested in our 4. So this is our transmit, which is going from the access point to the client. So that was at 4:30 when the upload was happening. The receive is actually more of interest to us. We see that these are generally running at very high speeds, 144, 130. Looks very healthy. If you've got greens and blues and no reds or browns, then things are good. And again, if we grab over here, almost all of that transmission occurred at 130. So I just think that's a kind of an interesting worked example of, you see something anomalous, you go over to look at the access point. From the access point, you go over to look. So we found the access point here in the media center. We right click to get the clients. We got the clients. We could see over here, looking at the amount of data transmitted, that this one looked kind of anomalous. We could open that one up by right clicking on its link, and we could determine the fact that yes, it was the guy that was most active around this time of about 3:30. Bandwidth peaked at like, well, it says 4,000 kilobits per second, which is 4. It's really not that high. 4.7 megabits per second. And generally, it looks very healthy. So that's just a kind of a worked example, a bit of a lucky one for me of how you can work through from the dashboards to the access point monitor to the list of clients on the access point to a specific client and some details about it. Okay.